Welcome back, everyone. So what's being suggested here is this is the total and complete acceptance. You can call it unconditional love. Um, the seeming misconception is that the character can attain complete and total acceptance, or can or will be capable of unconditional love. Although the character is included and is not separate from unconditional love, it hopes and it tries, it wants to attain effort, inquiry, listening to this communication, to become more and more like a unconditional love, to be more accepting, to be more um, compassionate, and in hopes that through its efforts, it can become complete and total acceptance or unconditional love. This is the reward that the character wants, which basically means eternal bliss, enlightenment, unconditional love, complete peace. But unfortunately, it's not an experience that a character can have, because these are not about experiences. These are not about attainment. This is not about becoming. So the biggest misconception is that if I let go of my thoughts, if I drop away, or if I contemplate or do whatever that is necessary, or try to listen to this communication, it's looking for that reward of eternal peace. It's looking for that state of enlightenment. It's looking for the disappearance of the me. So in hopes of attaining it, it tries to seek something that it cannot achieve. But it can only function that way. That's the sad part about it, is that it tries to get it. It tries to understand it. It tries to know it. It tries to emulate it. It tries and tries and tries. But as I said in many of my talks, that illusion can only operate in an illusion. But it wants to evaporate the illusion. But even the idea of dismantling the illusion is just another illusion. It wants to come to a point that it doesn't have a state anymore. And this is just a story, but the seeming root of that is that there is this idea of others that have achieved it, or others that have reached enlightenment. So there's this romanticized idea that people that have apparently seen through the illusion or dissolved the illusion, or thinking that they have dropped the me, are compassionate, unconditional love, or they have this total acceptance of everything. So since there is no one that can achieve this or do this, how come there are stories of others that can achieve this or do this, or have done this, or that have actually been in that state? And it doesn't really quite help. Then there's examples of sages out there that it looks like that they have achieved everything, total enlightenment, complete awakening, death of the ego and everything. Let me clear it up a little bit. That all of these are just fantasies. All of this is just story. Because the immediacy of this is that there is no one here. So who can achieve complete and total acceptance? Who can practice unconditional love? Who is going to be in eternal bliss? Who's going to have that unwavering peace? So the illusion is having a dream of attaining this by comparing it to others. I think we were talking about this earlier, Michelle, of achieving this, what others are saying. What others are saying, since there are no others as well, are just stories as well. There's no truth to this. There's no landing. There's no, last level that's achieved. There's no beating the game. So in this idea that the character can be capable or can achieve this total radical acceptance of everything, it's just another story. It's just another idea. And to kind of like draw back from what I was saying earlier in the first meeting, that there are no characters out there whatsoever. So comparison of a story to another story is just another story. So comparison of someone that has achieved this is just another fiction. So what's the point of listening to this communication? Nothing really. This is just an expression of the clarity that is seen here, that no one has ever achieved this. No one will ever achieve this because there's simply no one. So all the efforts to become more accepting, the efforts of finding who you are, the inquiry, the pointers are all fruitless, because it always leads to nothing. And then even that character is not apart from unconditional love, so it's really just seeking for itself, or rather the absence of the self, so that it can dissolve into unconditional love. But what's being expressed here is that this complete and total acceptance is already here. It was never lost in the first place. And I know it's quite frustrating for a seeker that's going through kind of like, well, how do I get there? And the answer keeps on getting responded to, well, there's nowhere to get to, and there's no one to get here. As I said, this is already completion. This is already non-negotiable. This is already emptiness. So if emptiness is being sought, the one that's seeking for emptiness is also emptiness. It's not apart from it. Often it's said that what seems to be hidden, what seems to be looked for, seems to be hidden because it appears in everything. And that's what's being expressed here. So it's not about doing something to get here, because it's already everything. There's no effort that's needed because it's already done. There's no seeking really that's necessary because what's sought for is already here. Some people come to this talk just to clarify what's already here. So it's looking for that realm of unconditional love or that state of bliss. But since it's made into an idea, since the character's not capable of understanding what unconditional love is, it creates a version of it. Or rather, it actually even projects a version of it with characters that are not even there. And it gets stuck on that one because it wants to be like Jesus or Buddha or some of the sages, but none of them are real as well. None of them are real. They're just perceptions. Because if all that there is this, and there's nothing outside of this, why do we keep on thinking of dead people, of dead characters? And words that are really just really empty, that really means nothing. So in the effort of the character to become more and more and more like a deity, in hopes of reaching that same state that a deity or a savior or a messiah or a messenger has achieved, it keeps on looping itself over and over again because the wanting, the hoping, the wanting to become something reinserts that illusory me over and over again into this never-ending loop of wanting, never-ending loop of not getting, and it just keeps on repeating and repeating and repeating, and it gets completely tired, and then it goes back again, and it gets completely tired. Sometimes it has glimpses of seeing what it is, and then it loses the glimpse. So this never ending of wow, and I lost it. I got it, I lost it. I got it, I lost it. But what's being expressed here, this complete and total acceptance of everything, can never be lost. This completeness, this wholeness can never be separated. So all the efforts, or all of the non-efforts, all of the giving up, all of the seeking, or the giving up of seeking, are just the same narrative in a story that's run by nothing, in hopes to get everything. It's kind of funny, isn't it? This is just this simplicity, this immediacy, this openness, this really intimate clarity that there was never a before, there'll never be an after, and there's just always this. But seemingly the seeker keeps on looking for things either in the future or getting tripped up by the past of thinking that I got it before. So where is it now? So it goes back and forth into this illusory jump ropes. Jumping up and down, thinking that it will get there. But it's just eternally playing. But once it's seen that in this complete, radical, total acceptance of everything, it also accepts that. Nothing is ever excluded. Everything is always this. There's nothing outside of this. And there's no escaping this. It's already this. And before you can say, where is this? The one that's asking, where is this, is also this. All right. If you have any questions, please go ahead. Ines, is there anything called enlightenment? Hi, Ines.
Well, that was just, I think, a rhetoric question. I didn't really mean it. I
Yeah.
think there's no such thing, is there?
No, no, because enlightenment is just another idea, right? It's another idea of attaining that. It's kind of like how do I attain unconditional love or this eternal bliss? It's a state that it's looking for. It's the
Mm-hmm.
Eastern thought of what heaven is.
Mm.
It's the spiritual equivalent of what heaven is. It's enlightenment. It's just another idea. It's just another fantasy. I can also say that this is all enlightened already. It's not a personal thing. It's not a
Yeah.
it's just a word of if you look at the Eastern way of saying it, it's an attainment. But what's being expressed here is that this is already this. So what's the use for enlightenment when there's no one?
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
nothing to attain. Is that
No.
okay? But still, what I hear with the speakers here with the non-duality is that I hear sometimes, or I this character here, this character hears that it is said something like when there are and at some moment the me fell away.
Yeah, yeah, it's just
And that's
seeing.
what that would be the equivalent for me with enlightenment.
Yeah, yeah. Um that's why you know what a speaker will usually say that, but that's just a story. There's no me that fell away.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's always clarified that way. But if someone tells you that the me fell away um and it's just becomes another story again
Mhm.
because there's no me to fall away. So wanting the me to
Yeah.
fall away just reinforces that there was a me in the first place. Again, it becomes in this cyclical loop, this torturous, never-ending loop of seeking because it keeps on wanting to the me to fall away, but there was no me in the first place. So how can that happen?
Okay. What about when the speaker says, and then there was a moment when I saw that there was no me.
Yeah, yeah. So it has to explain it in a story because it's impossible to to really fully express it, right? So this character, what seemed to have happened, although this never happened because there's no past. So I'm talking in story right now. This is all fiction right now, right? Is that when after seeking, after having thought that I awakened, thought that I had enlightenment about 14 years ago, and then tried to maintain it was blissful because I was helping others. And there was this maintenance of it. So what I thought was, of course, you know what? Anyone that helps another person, helps, the homeless and all that kind of stuff, will feel blissful. So that's what I did for about, open up a meditation center, but had this apparent kind of like this experience of awakening that I saw everything as like one, and I am everything basically. I am. So there's an identification that I woke up. So since there's an I that woke up or dropped away or something, then there's an I that there's a maintenance of that, right? So I had to kind of like maintain that. So I had to practice. I had to meditate, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. Made sure that I was continually purifying myself, eating, really pure and all that kind of stuff. But it was just really torturous. It was just really, um, and I had to act a certain way now. I could not even have any impure thoughts because I was maintaining that enlightenment. So that's what enlightenment means. And everybody thought that, although I never said it, I never have mentioned it before, people that would come to my lectures or my satsangs would be like, oh, wow, he's so enlightened, that kind of thing. Or they would even ask me, how is it to be enlightened? I'm like, oh, I'm not. Um, but yeah, so the maintenance of that. So when crises happens, like illness or whatever, bad news, um, the individual thinks that it has to maintain it, that it has to be still blissful and happy, despite having some bad news or some relationship problems. That fell apart completely. So the character thought that I lost it, so it tried to seek it over and over again. It tried to grab it as much as it can, right? It tried to maintain it, and lost it and got it, lost it and got it. So what's being talked about here is when someone says that there's in the radical uncompromising speaker, when there's a dropping away, it's like a split second that never really happened in time. When there's a seeing that there's never been anyone, it's just really, really simple. So when it's seeing that there's never been anyone, meaning that no one really dropped away because it's always been that there's never been anyone. It's always this way. This is the naturalness of it. But to be able to tell a story, a character can say, well, I died, like 4 years ago. A clearer way of saying it that there was this seeing that there's never been anyone. So no one fell away and no one died or no one disappeared. And there was an apparent falling away of someone that was never there. That's what's being discussed, right? It's kind of confusing. So again, I'm just going to repeat it. So there was this clarity that the person that thinks that it's real, that is perceiving, is accidentally seen as non-existent. So it's kind of like a big plot twist. It's kind of like, oh, wow, this is just all happening without anyone here. This is just all running by itself. And all this time, although there's no time, for the past like 30 years or 40 years or whatever, I thought I was running the show. I thought that I had a say in this. I thought that I had control. I thought that I could attain this. And I was actually going the wrong way about it, because trying to attain it just keeps on maintaining the illusion that I am real. So what's dislodged, or what was kind of like seen by no one, of course, is that there's never been any time. So this is timelessness. This is eternity. This is infinity. And in infinity, there's never anyone separate. So there's never been a me. There's never been a you. So that illusion, it's kind of like waking up from a nightmare thinking that you were separate. And then when you wake up, oh wow, there's actually no one here. There's nothing separate. So there's this dream of separation that I am seeking, that I am suffering, that I am in, that I have a lot of pain, that I am unworthy, all that kind of stuff. So when it gets snapped out of it, it's kind of like the end of mesmerization, the end of a mirage. It's kind of like getting out of a cult, thinking that you are whatever. It's like a brain. It's like no, there's no brain. It's like a deprogramming of some sort. So when it's deprogrammed, it's seen that, oh, this is already complete. So there's nothing to seek anymore. And if seeking happens, it's just what's happening, but there's no one behind it anymore. There's just this completion of everything. So what was thought about that was lacking, or what was thought about that was missing, is seen as full already. And it's just the best analogy that I could use it. It's just really waking up from a nightmare and thinking that you have been separate and you have been running the show, that you have some, that you have everything to do with what's happening with you. So the seeing is that it's just all innocent. Non-Duality Police said it's the cult of separation. Yeah.
Emerson, what I think here, I mean, everybody who's here, the characters who are here today, I think that most of them, or many of them, have want to get something out of this.
But what
Am I wrong?
What if we say that there's really no one here?
Okay. What
And
about the non-characters that are here? Well, I would say that many of us are still thinking in the dualist way, in the separate way, and there's still the it's hard to describe, but when I attend something like this, I want to, at the end of it, or if I go listen to non-duality tapes for the next 20 years, at the end, I would like to have something, some kind of, my life should be better in some regard.
Yeah, in the story, the people come to these meetings to attain something, to drop something, or to dislodge something, or to have this non-experience experience
Mm-hmm.
of dropping away. During the break, there was a few people that messaged me and basically said that um, I don't know what happened. I'm just going to go for a walk. I'm not going to the second session. And then another person said that, oh wow, this is just all happening by itself. Again, that's just a story, right? There's no cause and effect. And there's just a clarity of something that is always here, a clarity that this has always been this way. So
Yeah.
people come to this meeting so that they can, there'll be a clarity that there's no people. And sometimes there's clarity that occurs um, in the apparent story, although that's just a story because there are no others, right? So that's why there are some people that comes to this, or sometimes people don't come back because it's not necessary anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do see that, and there is also some clarity here, but not always. There's also moments of pure duality where I'm stuck in the, yes, in the separateness,
Mm.
and that, I think that's also okay, isn't it?
Oh
Just
yeah,
to,
yeah. That's also clarity because since you're just telling me that as a story right now, that never
mm-hmm.
really happened.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's really no one stuck in duality. You're just telling me that. You're just coming
And
up with that. It's to again. It's to deny what's being expressed here, that it's already complete. That this is already total, complete acceptance. This is already fullness, and everything that you're going to say is also fullness. It's not apart from that. It's not separate at all.
okay,
All right.
thank you. It's very beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Michelle.
I always forget my sound.
No worries.
Okay. I, um, so it's a story or not to say this is it. I mean,
Yeah, this is it is even a story.
it's even a story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
So if
the moment that the perceiver perceives this is it, it's not it anymore.
so it's not it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There's no position at all.
No,
No position at all. Um,
no, not
yeah,
none whatsoever. None whatsoever. So this mouthpiece that's speaking right now, the one, the visual with the soundtrack, with the sound coming out, um, there's no one here, so there's no position. There's no one here, so there's no um, conclusion to whatever is being said here, right? These are words that
yeah.
are just coming out of nowhere, with no thought behind it, with no intention behind it.
We cannot make it wrong. We
There's no
cannot.
one to make it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's a sometime if it's sharing this message or not, there's a it will not depends about nothing. I mean, it's you know like you start sharing, um, you start sharing because of a clarity, or there is seen that by no one there is no one anyway, this clarity. And but if there seems no clarity, even if it's clarity, it's nothing is wrong.
Nothing is wrong. Even there is clarity, right? You know, there's just this idea that it's not clarity, but it's all clarity. So clarity is just clarifying that whatever is appearing is clearly already that there's no one behind it. That it's
Okay.
always nothing appearing as everything. And it's not understandable. It's not
No,
conceivable, right?
never.
Never. Yeah, never.
No.
It's kind of like trying to explain um clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only symptom that can maybe appear for no one is clarity.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just clarity. It's and there's this just this it's just this flood of unknowing, right? So every single thing that was believed before is
Yeah.
drowned, right? Because it's flooding and it's just this every single hope that was ever dreamt of is also drowned because it is already. So when it's completely free already, when it's completely
Mm-hmm.
um, revealed already, then all of these fantasies like hope, wanting, are not necessary anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's not much difference to what is already seemingly happening there. There's just this persistent like little fly that keeps on flying in and out
Yeah.
and it becomes bothersome because it is trying to change things that it cannot change. It's just a fly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a
like a
there's
fruit fly.
no. Yeah. Okay. Thank you
Okay, all
for
right.
now. Mm-hmm. Oops. Oh.
Caroline, please go ahead, please. How can one ask one more question? The answer is always the same anyway, and there is no question to start with. Do you want to expand on that one?
No, I don't really want to, actually.
Okay. All right.
I've said everything I had to say.
No
There is
worries.
nothing to say.
Yeah,
There is no question, and there is no one to answer a question. So, well, that's it. Full
that's
stop.
it. All right. Thank you.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad.
It's
It's
just
no.
what is.
It's just what is, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Thank you.
Emerson.
Ines. Oh, Zoe. Just a second, Zoe. I
I
have
would.
Ines. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sure, sure.
I'll get to you, Zoe, after Ines.
No problem.
Okay.
So what is said is that what we're searching for is that what already is. So yeah, that's what it, and so if it's like what already is would be fear. So I'm searching
What
for
already
fear.
is this. Whatever this is right now. This is what is being searched for. So in this, there's already no Ines. There's already clarity. And whatever arises, like fear or whatever, is also it. Because what is being sought for appears in everything. It appears in fear. It appears in seeking. It appears in the blinking of the eyes, in the breathing. It appears in everything. It appears in the picture frame, in the air, in the visible and the invisible. It appears as everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Zoe. Hey, Zoe.
Hi. Well,
Hi.
mine was just about the time schedule. I'm not sure I'm reading it right. Maybe you already explained this on the email you sent out.
Did I make a mistake again?
Well, I'm not sure if it was like an hour breakout room, but then it looks like the next thing would be 2 hours from now. But I logged in anyway because I was like, well, maybe he's on.
I got a whole bunch of emails. Sorry. Yeah, about that.
Okay, well, cool. Well, and I guess the other thing I'll just say, after hearing this message, it's just so surprising. Like the teachers I used to listen to before, it's like it's a completely different message. It just is like, what?
I agree with you because I used to be one of those teachers that taught this in a it's almost like it's kind of like what I was explaining, right? Like how do you go inward when there's no inward and there's no you? The spirituality tells you to go inward and to find yourself, to find your higher self. This communication communicates that there's never been a you and there's no in or out.
Yeah, so it's like all these teachers are talking to a person. I never heard it before. After I heard this message, like, oh my, like somebody the other day played a clip of Muji for me, and it was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's quite tricky because they do mention some stuff that there's no one and everything. But let me tell you how to meditate to get there.
Yeah, and to watch your mind and be in awareness and watch your thoughts, and it's like, what the wow.
Yeah. Because it sells. Just kidding. They're perhaps being earnest because in their apparent experience there is a maybe a glimpse, but that glimpse becomes a story, and the glimpse becomes the glimpse is like, oh, there's no one here, and then when it becomes a story that there's no one here, then it becomes a special story. Oh, this happened to me. So the me slides in there very, very, very kind of like sneakily, right? It's gone underground. So the me is a know me now, and the know me, teaches all of these techniques now on how to become a know me. But it's a me pretending to be a know me, practicing awareness.
Yeah, it's just so obvious now. It's wow. It's like, whoa, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or as I said, that this is non-negotiable. Whatever this is this already. And then yet someone tells you to take a vacation from this. Who's taking a vacation? Who's meditating? Who's contemplating? Who's aware? Who's aware of being aware? Who's the witness? And it just goes into this rabbit hole of spirituality. So it's a spirituality, they call it non-duality, but it's still spirituality. And spirituality, spirit, or a source, or any of that, is just kind of like, it's almost kind of like a neo-religion. Their religion has just become something kind of like God has just gone underground and it became a higher self. There's still an authority.
Yeah, like someone said, I was never so arrogant as when I was a humble spiritual seeker.
Yeah, that was me actually. That was this character.
Was that you, Emerson? It was perfect.
Oh,
Yes, it was you.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This character was so
Yeah.
arrogant because it thought that it achieved something that no one has. And then these poor other people, I'm going to grace them with my teachings so that hopefully they can get here where I am. And look at how I help so many people. And I do these lectures and all this kind of stuff, and I find them their purpose because I'm on this mighty horse that I am spiritually superior. So that's why I'm teaching. It's because I have something that you don't. I have something that I can offer you that can liberate you. And this goes the flip side here. There's no one here. There's nothing that I can offer you. This is already perfection. It's like a plot twist. Like what? So that's what teachings are, right? Is there's this codependent nature to it, where a student and a teacher, usually the student gives away the power to the teacher, and they become disciples. They kiss the feet. They become devoted, and the teacher becomes on this pedestal, and the teacher abuses the power and becomes entitled, thinks it's superior to others. There's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just a play. But it's just but you see now, when there is a teacher or an authority. So the teacher becomes God, becomes the higher self. And the seeker or the student becomes hopes in vain that through its efforts to become more and more like the teacher, and hopes that it will result in this exalted state of enlightenment or something, or someone that has superiority in spirituality. And then the student thinks that this teacher is always in eternal bliss, is always in this Satchit Ananda or unconditional love. But that's just another facade, right? And it just reinforces that play again, that I am separate, because I think that my teacher is, I'm going to get something from him or her. So this is a total disruption of that, dynamic of this power of a teacher having the power in the student. This doesn't have any power because there's no one here. There's just this clarity here that there's no one here. And it's just kind of like a whistleblower. That's what I see this. It's kind of like, there's no one here.
That's perfect, Emerson.
There's no one there. There's no one anywhere. That's it. That's what radical, uncompromising communicators do, is just whistleblowing. Although it's not really whistleblowing to anyone, it's just expressing. It's just also showing the cracks in so-called non-duality, where there is a practice, or there's an inquiry, or there's something to figure out, or you're almost there. You're almost there. You're just a few workshops away. There's no such thing. This is like entertainment. Just entertaining the idea that there's never been anyone here. There's no time. And no hopes of achieving anything at all because it's already achieved. It's already done.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I think somebody else mentioned in the first session, just the unknowing, this complete ordinariness, and yet with no one knowing anything, it's all of a sudden, wow, wow. I wonder what's going to come out of this mouth in the next minute or whatever. Yeah.
I was talking to someone in the breakout room. Someone basically can like, can we talk privately? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. And this person said that you're not really there, aren't you? I'm like, no, because I'm not really here. I'm like, yeah, and I don't know that, but the belief dropped away that kept on trying to figure out if I was really here or not. And the belief kind of like just completely kind of like shattered. And I think it was just the word of, I can't remember what word it was, but something. It's almost like a remembrance for no one that there's never been anyone here. So the spirituality or some of this teaching just keeps on extending it. This mirage that there is someone here, because it the moment that it practices, the moment that it inquires, then it reasserts that there is someone that needs to drop away. There is a process to become a no-me. But the process to become a no-me, first you have to reassert that there's a me for it to become a no-me. So it doesn't really make sense, right?
Yeah, it just is so, it's like that. It just like jumps out now, the difference between a clear message and one that is talking to an
someone.
imaginary. Yeah.
As
And
I
your
said,
background is so uber cool, Emerson.
oh, thank you. I renovated this morning just for this talk. I
Thank
woke
you
up
for
at like
doing
3
that.
o'clock. I painted the walls, and I changed the hardware, and yeah, just yeah,
Thank you.
oh, thank you, yeah, and to continue on that one, it's just hilarious because this doesn't really address anyone, and I think it's the kindest, just the kindest communication, although it's really brutal, because it's not lying, it's not bullshitting. It's not saying, well, there's no one here, but here's a few practices to get there.
Yeah, that's the true compassion.
Yeah. It's like I'd rather be told the truth than being given lies until I found the truth.
Yeah, the other way is an endless rabbit hole. It just leads to
that's what it is, and
another,
that's when I was a spiritual teacher. There was this shame and guilt happening in this character because beginning to see that none of this is true. None of the, and for example, I've done like maybe I don't know like 5 chakra workshop, and then seeing that there's no chakras really. There's nothing need to be aligned. And it's just all this fantastical thing. It's kind of like I felt like I think I was telling my friend that I felt like a tarot card reader, that I'm just guessing and lying about something that I don't really understand. Oops. So I'm just going to and that's what teaching is that it thinks, the teacher thinks that it's coming from wisdom, it's coming from a lineage, it's coming from a source, then when it's seen that there's really no source, there's really no lineage, there's no past, so what am I talking about then? Although teachers, are usually very earnest in speaking about this, and it's usually coming from their kindness, and they can't really see the difference. They don't know what they're really doing. But what happened here is that it was trying to backtrack what it was being said, and it was just beginning to collapse all of this belief system, all of these ideas, all of this really thought, and this place of authority. So when a teacher is teaching, it comes from a place of authority. It's coming from a knowing, coming from a knowledge. When what's being expressed here is that there's no knowledge, there's no knowing, because there's no knower, there's no wisdom, there's no time. So everything that's just coming out is just coming spontaneously from this sound box with no one behind it. And it's just the simplicity of that.
Yeah, it's so beautifully simple and fresh and whatever it is, just yeah.
Because it can never be figured out. That's just what's being expressed here, that it can never be figured out because there's no one that can figure it out, because there's just simply no one, right? So whoever thinks that they got it is lying. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no one here. It just becomes a belief, because when it becomes a belief, it becomes an understanding, then it becomes something that got captured or got attained or something. So when there's this collapse of the believer, the collapse of the idea that there was someone, the collapse basically is the idea that there is someone here. So the seeing is the clear seeing is that there's never been anyone here. So there's no time. Anything that the individual thinks it happens, like time, space, others, cause and effect, free will, all that kind of stuff, collapses, dies with it as well. Meaning there's never been none of that. So there's just this dream that's running by itself with no dreamers in it, that appears to have separation, all of this kind of stuff. And that cannot be thought, because what is already mysterious. What it can only be expressed as mysterious, and some speakers like this character just can't help talking about it.
I love listening to you talk about nothing, Emerson.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you, Zoe. Thank you. I do love my background. It's kind of cool.
You have a beautiful speaker at your right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a real speaker, actually. Emerson, can you talk about oneness? Um, I don't really like using that word as much. I like the word wholeness. It's just a preference. Oneness, there's a lot of when I was in spirituality, I used to use that a lot. So I tend to um, have purged a lot of the spiritual words that that I use. But sometimes I'll say it. It's just a word. It's just a word. Um, Wholeness is just includes everything. Oneness seems to be includes personalized into one. The I become we kind of thing. The I am we. It's all right. It's all right. But yeah, I don't prefer it. Um, I like wholeness. I like completion. I like changing words around. I don't know if you guys noticed. Yesterday I used perfection. Today I'm beginning to use total acceptance, complete acceptance. It's just words that are trying to describe the undescribable, the wordless. So the wordless accepts everything. The wordless, um, the nameless. Oops. The wordless is everything. So yeah, so what's just being expressed here that there's never really been any separation. There's never been anything separate. So what's appearing as separate is just an illusion. Hey Emerson, I like the word completion. I like that. Can you use that more often? Sure. So this is completion. This is contentment. Thank you. I'm getting a lot of love comments. Thank you. What's a day-to-day life for an Emerson? There's no Emerson, there's no day-to-day. So all of this is just this wholeness appearing as this. You can talk about a story if you want to go to a story form. Apparently a body wakes up in the morning, sleeps for 3 to 4 hours. This character likes playing music, likes playing piano, DJing, uh, is in love with everything sometimes, and smiles and giggles a lot for no apparent reason, loves to eat lots of food, and that's just a story. What are the dark qualities of this character, Emerson? There's no Emerson. The story of the character Emerson, if you want to go to a story, is a debauchery dude. Likes to eat lots of food. If it goes dancing, it'll go dancing for a couple of days. But that's just a story as well. Actually, I haven't due to the pandemic, I've not been into any public party places for dancing. But I dance all the time in while I'm DJing, so yeah. Okay, no more Emerson question. This is beginning to feel like speed dating. Like long walk on the beach, reading book. No. Oh, I'm not okay. I'm gonna open up the chat so everyone can see it. Just a moment here. You can chat to everyone now. You can sorry about that. That was just that the chat was only going to the host. Hi Emerson, can you also call this just presence? Um, I I prefer to call it a knowable presence. This is all that there is. So a knowable presence um, re- is completely unaffected by anything that is appearing in it. I also like the permanent presence. It's not disturbed by any impermanence, story, feelings, emotions, pain, and suffering. All that there is this a knowable presence, um, permanent presence, whatever it is. The unchangeable. Michelle, please go ahead.
Always. Okay. Can you explain the word stillness? Because that's it's a concept that I know it cannot be known, but I mean it's difficult for me because it's like a background or something underground or
Yeah. So that stillness is just another word to describe the indescribable. It tries to describe the nameless. So stillness, I like it because it's depersonalized. So there's stillness everywhere. So everything that arises, the chaos and the wildness and the anarchy, all dissolves into stillness. It's also stillness. So for all of these arising to arise, there has to be kind of like a permanence. So I call stillness kind of like this infinite stillness, this permanent
yeah.
stillness. So whatever happens, or you could call it deep sleep as well.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just this word. There's just only this singularity, right? And in this singularity that cannot be named, many words arises like stillness, like unwavering peacefulness, unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned a couple, the unchangeable. So the
The
stillness,
unchangeable.
because yeah, it's unchangeable because it doesn't change, right? So the stillness is where everything arises. It's another word for nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. In every single chaos, there's always stillness that is appearing along with it, that is simultaneously appearing with it. So in every single apparent illusion, there's also stillness that is um, simultaneously and spontaneously appearing at the same time.
Because there's no time. There's no
That's right.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there's no time, there can never be any movement.
Okay.
It is
It's
just
not that
stillness.
it's not that I try to grab that, but that's
Yeah.
of course not. But it was I had a little bit. I did not understand anyway.
Yeah, so
So
I
now
can say that this is all stillness, and this stillness, what
mhm.
seems to be happening along with it is this static called this conversation happening, this distortion of apparent appearances, and complete utter stillness.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Mm.
Michelle. Ghislaine, hi.
Again. I just can't help myself, I guess. I'm not deciding it.
No
Um,
one is doing any of this. So
no one. So that's the fun part.
it
You know,
is.
when they used to, I used to try to understand those things, spiritual thing and the awareness, you cannot be aware of everything. There's a lot that it's not aware of itself. And what I like with the nothingness, it doesn't bother nothing to
No.
not be aware of everything.
Yeah.
It does nothing is needed. That's fucking crazy, eh?
It is. It is.
It's a
It's so wild.
yeah,
It's so rebellious, right? Because it's so
yeah.
radical in a way because it doesn't have any authority. It doesn't have
No,
any
I
kind
love
of
that so much.
because everything is just like everything is. There's really no authority in everything. If you look at nature, there's no authority to it. It
No,
just is. It
no.
doesn't nature doesn't have to, the waterfalls and the mountain doesn't have to contemplate or meditate or be aware that it's a waterfall or be aware that it's a mountain. I'm
Yeah.
aware I'm a mountain. Aware. Mountain is awareness. No, it's just what is. It's already totally free already. It's already perfect
Some
stillness.
speakers, I think they want to try to put it available. It is available for sure, and in saying that it's very ordinary. But here the enthusiasm is so high that I I don't like this approach because yeah, it's chopping wood and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, that's for sure. And nothing changes, but
Yeah.
in in
I like to call it extraordinarily ordinary. So whatever is ordinary
yeah,
could be this woohoo, or it could be
yeah,
oh wow, that's it.
yeah. Probably some people were looking for ecstasy, and then there's no ecstasy here.
Yeah,
Could you
yeah,
talk about your experience, spiritual experience? What was that? Because I never had like, samadhi things or kundalini. Did you
yeah,
or
yeah. I did. See.
yeah?
Um, I was a corporate dude that was partying a lot that wanted to change. So
Mm-hmm.
I dropped the corporate dude. I also dropped the party DJ kind of like thing and became almost kind of like a monk. And was, you know,
Okay.
purifying and all that kind of stuff like that, you know, would meditate 2, 3 to 4 hours. So I just replaced the partying with meditation, which is the same thing. Um,
Yeah.
and and then
An
I
intense guy.
yeah, 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 just the extreme, right?
Yeah,
You know, it's kind
yeah,
of like the polarity. Um, so
yeah.
one day, you know, when I was just kind of like walking down after, you know, meditating after like maybe 1,000 hours of meditation, no, no, 200 hours, sorry, of teacher training, and became kind of like just was walking down the street, and and then it started judging everybody because I ended up in a bad, in an apparently bad area, you know, with a lot of
Okay.
so I started judging people, and I went back into my house and I said, after, you know, hours, thousands of hours of meditation and spirituality, I'm still not compassionate. So the next day, I wanted to redo my karma, so I brought San Miguel with me, and then I just looked at San
Okay.
Miguel, and San Miguel started kind of like, you know, um, just loving everybody. He's just he loves everybody anyway, right? So it doesn't matter if the guy was in
Mm.
the gutter shooting up heroin. He just licked
Mm.
everybody. He was just so happy, and then there was just this openness, and I was like, oh, it basically said that's me. Everyone is me. Everyone is. There's
Okay.
no separation, but I interpreted it as a story of me being
Yeah,
everywhere.
you took it for yourself
Yeah, yeah.
after.
But it was really
Yeah. Okay.
blissful. It was really blissful because I ended up opening a, so I thought that was my purpose. So my purpose was
Mm-hmm.
to help all of the homeless people to reach this apparent enlightenment. So I opened up a center in
Okay.
in a really bad area, apparently
Okay.
bad area, and then I
Okay.
opened it up free for everybody. I gave up my wealth. I ended up helping people every day. I did on a
Okay.
compassionate walk with San Miguel and cheered everybody up. I would, you know, give food and everything. Of course, when there's helping others, you know, in the story, there's a lot of blissfulness to it because, you know, everybody's hugging
Yeah.
you. But that was really short lived. Well, actually, not really. It lasted for a couple of years, and then the feeling
Mm-hmm.
of you know, enlightenment, the blissfulness was beginning to, because I was maintaining it. So every day I would
Yeah.
meditate. I don't have any bad thoughts,
Yeah.
and doing all of these
They
practices.
say in
Yeah.
spirituality, they say this is a way, kind the to go to others. It is one of the paths that
Oh
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
follow
Selfless service is big.
to
Yeah,
for an
selfless service.
yeah,
But you know what? It's
yeah,
not really selfless because I was doing it so that I
no,
can feel enlightened.
yeah, can, yeah,
I was
yeah,
actually just, you know, I thought I
okay.
was earning a lot of karma points, right? I was earning it and I was putting it in my bank. I'm like, this is going to be good for my soul. So it's not really
And
completely
now
selfless.
the enthusiasm that you really deploy from you, lots of enthusiasm. Do you think that it will fade?
There's no one here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no.
it could or not, and everything, eh?
It doesn't
Yeah,
really matter because all that there is this. So
no, yeah,
there's not even entertaining any thoughts um
no, no
about the future.
expectation.
But what is
Yeah,
seen here is that this is permanence. This is
mm,
infinity. Since
yeah,
there's no one here, it's always just infinity.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever is there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like nothingness, really,
Yeah.
because you
Well,
cannot
it's
do
all that there
anything
it's
with
the
that.
all that there is.
Yeah, yeah. And somebody talked previously, with the parents. I guess you did, or I don't know, but I find it easier to love people.
Yeah,
It's more
because
natural.
when
I
it's
don't
seen,
mind.
yeah, when it's seen that it's empty, then it's just empty.
Yeah.
You know, it's just this it's just this amazing um
What if we were like Don Miguel, all of us? It would be beautiful. All like your dog. Oh God, like kids in kindergartens. Mm, mm. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Sheer.
Hi.
Hi.
I- Actually, I don't know what to ask. Yes, I would like to ask, but you know, you meditate, you are not. Tony meditate, he is not. Jimmy, Newman meditate is not. All of who has this message, like you, all of them meditate. And myself, I never meditated, I never prayed in my life. And I didn't know even what meditation is. First when I was 9 years, did work in India, but I never interested. I just come by chance through Osho and then Yuji and then Tony, Jimmy, and then you. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And I think it's just beautiful. That's
It's just
all
beautiful. Yeah.
I know. It is just beautiful.
It is. That's it. Yeah.
And everything is it is just this. I can't just say it
It's
is
just
just this
this.
really.
It's just this. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
And I don't know why. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I made a mistake with the schedule. It says that this schedule is 11:30 to 1, and it's supposed to be. And it started at 10:30. Apologies. We'll just keep on going then, I guess.
Oh, you did begin at 10:30? You did? Okay. So I'm late.
It was the best
I didn't
introduction
see
ever
the
too.
intro. Yeah, I lost it. I missed it. Oh.
So I've been doing this for 90 minutes now. my apologies. I'm really bad with schedule. I don't know time. So me setting up time is usually always a failure because and I think I even read it like twice. I'm like, yeah, that's right, and I sent the email and then someone just messaged me and said, but when did this start? So this one started about at 10:30, and then the next one is supposed to start at 1 p.m. And I got it completely wrong. But for some odd reason, there were people here at 10:30, so I just started. Go ahead, Steve. Hey, Steve.
Emerson,
Hi.
if you need a break,
Okay, yeah,
I'll
yeah,
bet.
sure. Sure.
I
Well,
kind of think that everybody knows you're putting in so much time. Take a break and give us a new
okay.
schedule, and
Sure,
I
sure.
think everybody would be great with that. Am I
Are you
wrong?
guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay.
Oh, for sure we are.
Oh, you guys are
We
the
don't want to
best.
exploit you.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Just tell us, just tell us what it's going to be. That's all.
Yes,
Tell
so
us what the
so the next one is going to be at 2 p.m. So 2 to 3:30. So there's a long break. So a couple of hours of a breakout room, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. And
Problem.
tomorrow will be the same, but I'll
Yeah.
get the time right tomorrow. No wonder I was like, oh, you know what? When I started speaking, there was half of the people that normally is. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's just what is. And then I just started speaking. This is the best intro that I've ever done. Ever.
Yeah, of
And
course.
no
I'll
one
have to tune in for that.
I was wondering, you said, I see you in an hour. And I was like, huh? See you in 2 hours? Okay,
Oh,
let's see.
yeah. No worries.
You were right. You said we see you in an hour.
So what I'll do is I'll close this room in about 5 minutes. You guys come back into the breakout room, and I'll process the recording right away, so you'll have it by tonight. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good? Okay.
And now we're going to see you in 2 hours, right?
In 2 hours, yes.
2 hours. Okay, thank you, Emerson.
So funny. How did that happen? I don't know. There was one time that I also kept on, every time that I do this kind of stuff, but it's no one did it, so no one is at fault.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. I will see you back
Thank
in 2
you,
hours at 2
Emerson.
p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to stop the recording. So, guys, sign back on again for the breakout room. I just want to get the recording so that people that missed it can have the recording as soon as tonight. Mwah!
Thank you.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Down.
Bye. I'll end this and just log back on for the breakout room.